we need to talk about Idubbbz, because watching his latest video sucked, but so did the backlash. The backlash was gross. Like a blind man groping in a brothel, people seemed confused about what they were actually feeling. And we should care about the audience's reaction to Idubbbz because it shows where the future of YouTube may be. Do we want it controlled by petulant 15-year-old children seduced by cynics like Sam Hyde, caught in the stale content of 2015? Or do we want YouTube to evolve into more nuanced, complex video essays and commentary? Which it can be, but it requires doing the difficult thing and having the balls to defend Idubbbz, even if it's not fun. So here's why Idubbbz video sucked but was necessary, and my problem was Sam Hyde, who agreed to an interview with me and then ghosted me. That Rubenesque coward. Come back! Talk to me. Talk to somebody who isn't always on your side. It's okay. He ghosted me. I'm sure his newborn baby will ghost him in 18 years just like he did to me. Uncalled for, too hurtful. Let's talk about internet harassment. It's like SA. It happens to guys too, they're just much less likely to talk about it. Which is too bad, because Idubbbz is right to dislike Sam Hyde. Sam Hyde behaves like an asshole to Idubbbz on the internet for no discernible reason. We can point to the documentary Idubbbz made with Sam Hyde several years ago, but that does not explain the obsessive negging of Idubbbz's wife publicly. She wasn't there, she had nothing to do with the documentary. And yes, Idubbbz did ban Sam Hyde from his Creator Clash boxing events, but he's never once sought out to deliberately antagonize Sam Hyde. In fact, he's been trying to avoid mentioning Sam Hyde at all for the last 2 years. Which is why we have to talk about Sam Hyde in this video, because he inserts himself into conversations where nobody wants him. Sam Hyde is funny. He's edgy, he's present, he speaks with authority, he has all the qualities that make someone attractive to follow online. And I think it's disingenuous to not acknowledge the attributes that someone has that makes them likable on the internet. But at the same time, Sam Hyde is insulting another man's wife, a woman, constantly and publicly without provocation.
A 20-something-year-old man is publicly calling my wife a whore and a slut.
I think initially you can just buy that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this has got a separate Etsy page where she sells her pussy.
Yoko Ono was too concussed to fight in Creator Clash for the 2nd year in a row.
Life is so easy for a certain gender. All you have to do is say that my uterus hurts. What'd she say this time? Her uterus hurts? Or uterus fell out?
Had another concussion.
Probably your uterus fell out from getting blown out so much by toys.
Is that...
You are going to hell for making this. I'm like, what the fuck? Is that, we can't look at that? I think I'll screen. Okay.
Jack with the 20. Just got an email about Creator Clash 2 coming up. Sad to see you didn't make the card again. When will Idubbbz break free from that succubus that is holding him back?
I think, I shouldn't say. I got a funny message from Keemstar, but I won't say what he said. I'm not going to say it. But I think Idubbbz should wear a condom. Strap up.
Member 555 with the 20 says, Sam, you hear Idubbbz GF got hit by a bus. Also, you have any advice on how to deal with people with blue helmets scouting my house?
Hit by a bus? No, she didn't. Is that true? I want that to be true so bad that I'm going to look it up.
It's as if Sam Hyde likes the idea of Idubbbz. But when he meets Idubbbz, he doesn't like Idubbbz. And this personal inability to reconcile his perception of Idubbbz with the man of Idubbbz makes him blame Idubbbz's wife rather than himself, which is sad because the trope is fatigué, which is French for tired if you're an uneducated clown watching this video. Look, whether you're 15 or 30, you are old enough and smart enough to understand 2 things about life. The first, if you insult another person's spouse, their wife, unless they're Ted Cruz, they're not going to like you. No amigos. The second is blaming a woman for a man's behavior is cliche. In fact, it's so cliche, there's a literary trope about it. It's called the succubus trope, and I would have thought Sam Hyde is intelligent enough to recognize the cliche bullying he's doing and not do it. The succubus trope is when a sexually liberated woman seduces a good man, and through her manipulations, makes this good man behave counter to his true, honest, alpha self. Except it's bullshit. We don't live in a Twilight novel. Anisa is not a succubus. She is a woman who does and says what she wants, and Idubbbz is a man who does and says what he wants. Yes, Anisa has an OnliesFans. There's the sexually liberated part, but not because Idubbbz is some whipped, insecure little boy, oh, he can't do anything about it. No, it's because Anisa wants an OnlyFans, and Idubbbz is secure enough in his own relationship and emotions that he doesn't care. Like, sidebar, they're married, right? Do you think she would have an OnlyFans if it mattered to him? No, presumably, they love each other. She would delete her OnlyFans if he cared about it. But there may be some people watching that find it suspicious that he doesn't care at all that his wife has an OnlyFans. Isn't that weak? Like, shouldn't a good husband care about how their wife is exposed online? Fair question, but I would submit to you to ask yourself, why would you be uncomfortable if your spouse had an OnlyFans? And my guess is it has to do with some deeply planted ideas about how men and women should behave in monogamous relationships. And if a woman behaves heterodoxically to those beliefs, the man may feel a little embarrassed around his friends and family that his wife has an OnlyFans. He might feel shame, that powerful emotion. But it's okay if he doesn't, and Idubbbz obviously does not feel embarrassed. It comes down to a personal bias of whether you're okay with something or not. Like, you may not like my look, I might not like your hair, your weight, the fact you have a shitty beard and don't speak well. Nonetheless, Anisa is not manipulating Idubbbz's opinion of Sam Hyde. She doesn't have to make Idubbbz dislike Sam Hyde. Sam Hyde makes Idubbbz dislike Sam Hyde through his own words and actions. Idubbbz thinks Sam Hyde is an unrepentant, disrespectful asshole because Sam Hyde insults his wife. It's that simple.
And if you could say anything to Idubbbz about this Froggy Fresh banning situation, what would you say to him?
But you have to get all the tattoos lasered off, and you have to ditch Yoko Ono.
What would you say to Anisa if you could say anything to this? Because I'm sure at this point she's actually going to be watching this.
I would use her native tongue. I wouldn't use English. I would say
This is my request. I would like you to not harass me or my wife or anyone that we're friends with. Also, harassment encompasses all the little loopholes, all right? You can't just then refer to me as a goblin and be like, I didn't say his name. I wasn't talking about him. I was talking about a goblin. That's not acceptable.
And if Sam Hyde is really the transcendent, meta-pilled man he presents himself online to be, he would apologize after Idubbbz has said, hey, stop it. That's what real socialized adults do. When they realize they've hurt somebody's feelings, they stop and they apologize. Like, here's a tip in life. I know you watch Succession, Sam Hyde, Donald Trump. Every truly successful person I know, and I mean proper success, millions of dollars, private jets, they're incredibly nice. So if Sam Hyde therefore doesn't apologize after Idubbbz's video, it kind of makes things binary. Either Sam Hyde is stupid enough to believe and drink his own verbal cocktail of misogynistic tropes, and he's not aware of what he's doing, which makes him much stupider than I would like to believe, or he doesn't believe anything he says. He realizes he's playing into cliche tropes, but doesn't care and does it anyway because it's a cheap and easy way to attack someone he dislikes via proxy of someone's wife, which makes him much more sadistic than I think he'd like us to really know he is. Either way, it's kind of disgusting and disappointing. Either Sam Hyde is stupid or he's sadistic. Yuck. But I don't want to let Idubbbz off the hook too easily. Finger wagging is kind of repulsive, isn't it? It's like taking a supine position in a conversation. It's gelatinous. It's hard to respect anybody who finger waves in a debate.
That's not acceptable.
Idubbbz has been slow to vocalize his opinions and hurt feelings. And when he does, he is so Californian about it. Like, here's a tip. Idubbbz, if you're ever watching this video, you gotta get out of California, man. The culture is way different across the United States. Sam Hyde is a product of the East Coast. I know a dozen dudes like Sam Hyde. Edgy, present, smart, intelligent, never fully serious or silly, but somehow always single, something to keep in note. And on the East Coast, when you have a problem, you're confrontational about it. Obviously, Idubbbz is not confrontational. Like, Idubbbz should have gotten on the phone with Sam Hyde a year ago, called him up, and solved it. Hashed out. And Idubbbz also should have got on the phone with Froggy Fresh and hashed out and told Froggy Fresh, no, don't go visit Sam Hyde, otherwise you're cut from the creator ticket. Instead, during this video, we get to read endless screenshots of Idubbbz not saying exactly what he means, and seeing Froggy Fresh realize Idubbbz isn't saying what he means, and therefore pretend that he doesn't understand so he can get both worlds, a visit with Sam Hyde and still box on Idubbbz's Creator Clash event. The entire conversation reads like an over-therapied hippie talking to a weasel. Yuck. The video is clear about one thing though. Idubbbz has changed. No more edgy content, no more showing up at fan meetups and saying the N-word. Oh no. And by the amount of dislikes his video has, I think it's indicative of the fact that his audience Well, they are bigger fans of Idubbbz' content than of Idubbbz himself, which is maybe a lesson in audience capture. When we put something out into the ether that other people consume and they like that content. They don't like us. And if we change their perception of us, they're going to attack us. Which is too bad, because the only person I see really being attacked is Idubbbz. More specifically, Idubbbz' wife, Anisa, by Sam Hyde. And very few people willing to speak up on behalf of Idubbbz. It's not political. It's not red pill to woke, edgy to whipped. It's personal. It's one man who got sick of another man insulting his wife. And we should support that spine even if it's new. Because if we don't, we get stuff like this.
OnliesFans has done for me, not only financially, but mentally and emotionally.
You know what, Elo? I think it's time to bring killing niggas back. I love that.
Even grosser. Not cool.